Good evening. I call this meeting of the Bastrop Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present and that this meeting has been duly called and that a notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. This time, if you'd please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a word of prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. If you'd please remain standing. We have Pastor Cody Whitfield here tonight with River Valley Christian Church. Thank you again for coming out.
My pleasure. Let's pray. Father, the decisions that are made in this place affect not just the staff and not just the children of our community. They affect our future. And so with that in mind, God, we ask you for your grace and mercy. God, we ask you for clarity and wisdom in the decisions that are to be made. God, we ask you that you would help us to be bold and courageous to move into the future that you have designed for Bastrop County. God, for those who are affected, I pray that you would give us the courage to move forward so that in the education of our children, we could see the betterment of our society. God, that we could see them work and become great citizens in the great place that you have given us to live. Thank you for the men and women who are before me, who are dedicated to our children, to our community. May you richly bless their lives as they have given so much to this endeavor. Thank you, Jesus, for all you have done for us through them. Mostly, I thank you for your death on the cross and your resurrection that we may have eternal life. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pastor Cody, thank you and your church family for supporting us and coming out tonight. All right, at this time, Mr. Edwards, would you introduce our student speaker of character education trait for October responsibility, please?
I certainly will. Thank you very much. Members of the board and members of the audience, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Aya Byrne. If Aya would please come forward as I brag about her. Aya is a fourth grader at Red Rock Elementary, and she'll speak this evening about responsibilities. Aya's favorite subject is science because she gets to interact with different materials. She also likes learning new things in all of her classes. Aya is on the Red Rock UIL oral reading team and is an avid reader who loves poetry. She recently shared that she is proud of the things that she has learned and being a good friend. When she grows up, Aya wants to be a counselor or therapist to help provide and solve people's problems. Aya's parents, I think Chris, her father, is here. If you'll stand up and be recognized, thank you for being here. And Aya, you're on.
Responsibility. Responsibility has many definitions and synonyms, but those that make the most sense to me as a fourth grader are duty, leadership, and accountability. But responsibility means to me is when you do the things that you have to do, even if you don't want to. When you show up, apply yourself in the things that are not just easy but are hard. For example, completing my homework, doing worksheets in class, getting to school on time, being honest, being a good friend, helping my classmates, and being a person and student that others can look up to. My point is, it's my job to do all of those things, and ideally while being cooperative and with a smile on my face. Because, as we know, responsibility isn't always fun or easy, but it feels good and it's the right way to be. One person I really look up to and consider responsible is my mom. She likes to be on time, keep things clean, and make us nutritious meals, and give us lots of love. It's not always easy, but she shows us what it looks like to show up day after day. Another person I look up to is my friend Josephine. She's always there for me without being told to. She takes good care of her cats, and she keeps her room clean.
That's a good thing.
Responsibility takes many forms. Some we enjoy and some we do because we should. Responsibility takes commitment, work, and awareness. But if you have all of these things, you get the rewards from your efforts. Good grades, happy cats, and a full life. And who doesn't want all of that?
was awesome. I thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. All right. At this time, Mr. Edwards, if you don't mind introducing the representatives from the Superintendent Student Advisory Council, please.
Yeah, and it's great to have students back at the board meetings with us. We've started our SSAC meetings. We have our new nominees in. And this evening, we're represented by two gentlemen from Bastrop High School. We have Kahan and Justin, and I'm going to have them introduce themselves, tell them a little bit about yourselves, Kahan and Justin, and then what you plan to do after high school.
I'm Justin Shute. I'm in the 11th grade at Bastrop High School. In NHS, student council, basketball, and after high school, I want to go to college to get my education degree and be a teacher and coach.
You're hired. Miss Leifer, if you'll get his name and number, we'll make sure. She's already recruiting. You got a job here. Kahan?
My name is Kahan Wakehouse. It's good to be here. I'm a senior at Bastrop High, and I'll be hopefully attending Texas State to get my business degree, and then carry on to run a company with my sister. I'm in two athletic sports, soccer and cross country, and I'm very happy that I was chosen for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay.
All right, with us tonight as well, it looks like we have Lindsay Kana with We Believe and Bastrop BISD. Thank you very much for taking your time and coming out and joining us, and the Chamber of Commerce as well. We appreciate y'all's support and everything that you do for each one of our campuses. All right, this time we'll move into special recognitions. Dr. Lee, if you don't mind, please coming up and recognizing the Bastrop ISD principals for Principal Appreciation Month.
I absolutely can do that, and so honored to be able to recognize such an amazing group of people. Not all of our principals are able to be with us tonight, but I still want to say a few words about them. But what I'd like to do, just to get you guys ready, if you'll just come out from behind your seats, because we're going to do our photo op up here.
No.
So if you'll just come and get yourselves ready, I would appreciate it.
I'm not going to. No. No, I'm not. No, I have a hat on. Ashley, it's 5 minutes. I hope y'all don't mind if I sit this one out.
I think you look cute.
Well, thank you. And her cup matches her hat.
So, Ms. Hall is not able to be with us tonight, but she's the principal at Bluebonnet Elementary, and she's with her daughter this evening, who's in her first musical, as I understand it. But I wanted to read a couple of things that people on her campus said about her. Allison is a shining light on our campus. The students absolutely love to see her when she visits classes, co-teaches, or just sees them passing in the hallways. I know she will continue to shine her light on BES, making it the best school to work at. Another person said, I've grown so much as a leader because of her style of shared leadership. So we can give her a round of applause, even though she's not here. And Dr. Dolores Godinez also has an activity with her child this evening, and she's not here, but her folks said Dr. Godinez always prioritizes the needs of her students. She trusts the staff to deliver quality instruction. So now if I could have Miss Wendy Burnett come forward. She's the principal of Emile Elementary. If you want to go join that illustrious team right up there. They said that Mrs. Burnett is an amazing leader who builds character, I want to get her in the front. Who builds character, inspires dreams, encourages creativity, and instills a love of learning in the teachers and the students at Emile. They are able to count on her for support, encouragement, and leadership. And this other teacher said, I'm so grateful for the privilege to work at her campus. Next is Miss Melinda Gardner, the Lost Pines Elementary principal. And by the way, these frame certificates that they're being given have some of the words that their students and staff have been submitting over the last couple of weeks. From a teacher's point of view, one of a principal's best qualities is standing behind their teachers and their decisions, and Melinda has proven that time and time again. She looks out for the best interests of her teachers and students alike. My first day at a new job, in a new school, in a new town, she treated me like we'd been working together for years. Reba King is the principal of Mena Elementary School. Reba has a knack for being very genuine with people, for being a great listener, and for following up on things we ask her about. She keeps the whole child in mind when making policies and setting standards. I know that when Reba comes to my room to conduct business, she always spends extra time talking to my kiddos. She waits patiently while they try to find the words to answer her questions. And from Red Rock Elementary, Miss Laura Kirschmer. So apparently Laura is famous for saying, "I know you can do it. You're going to be great." This teacher loves that she's always able to poke fun of herself. They say she's a fantastic principal, encouraging, supportive, and focused. One teacher said, "Thanks for converting my mistakes into lessons, pressure into productivity, and skills into strengths." From Bastrop Intermediate School, we have Dan Brown. Mr. Brown has gone above and beyond in helping me to reach my goals. Another teacher said he has been a great mentor for me. Dr. Renitsky?
Yes.
Where is she? There she is. Dr. Jennifer Renitsky from Cedar Creek Intermediate School. She is a very positive person, always smiling. Her teacher says she does her best to solve problems that come up every day. From Bastrop Middle School is Crystal Gabriel. Our principal is amazing. She came in this year with her feet running. She's in the halls, classrooms, lunchrooms, and anywhere she is needed, she is there. She is our superhero and much appreciated. From Cedar Creek Middle School is Jim Halamick. His teachers say he is professional and passionate, which is the perfect combination. He goes over and beyond to make sure that teachers and students have their every need met. From Bastrop High School is Mr. Brad Brown. Mr. Brown always demonstrates professionalism, whether he's in the hallway with students or with teachers in a meeting. This teacher appreciates being treated like a professional. He is a consummate professional, so level-headed and fair, and another teacher called him a gentleman who is kind and considerate. Bridget Cornelius is not able to be with us this evening. She has a sick kiddo at home, but her teachers say that she supports her staff 100%. She has a very special and unique way of growing leaders. She empowers individuals, highlights their strengths, and pushes them to be better people. Miss Mr. Conrarty, who's the principal at Circa and Genesis, is unable to be with us tonight. Mr. Conrarty has this sort of presence that makes us want to be better people in general. He wants students and teachers to push the boundaries. And this one particular student said that Mr. Conrarty is like a father figure to me. He low-key scares me, even when he's just saying good morning. I was surprised that so many students says that they scare him, but they really like it. And last but certainly not least, we have Dr. Patricia Alford from Gateway. Dr. Alford taught me what it means to be a teacher, not just the teaching part, but for making a difference in students' lives. She loves her students and staff. I once asked her, what would your second choice for a campus be? And she replied, I don't have a second choice. This is it for me. And principals, if you would go outside, you could come back and stay for the meeting, but if you would go outside, Nick's going to take a joint picture with all of those of you who are here this evening. Not outside, just outside. It's like, oh, man, you can go outside in the bathroom. Thank you very much.
Oh, no, it's all good. That's completely my fault. Nicely done, Dr. Lee. Okay, so if you were just taking pictures of my feet, I'd be fine.
Photobombing her picture.
What's up with Kelly today?
All right, at this time, we'll move along to our special recognitions here. I think Mr. Hudson has a proclamation from the city of Bastrop for Red Ribbon Week. Les?
Thank you, President Muschik. Mr. Edwards, members of the board, I'd like the opportunity to read a proclamation from the city of Bastrop. Whereas alcohol and drug abuse in this nation have reached epidemic stages, whereas it is imperative that visible, unified prevention education efforts in the community members be launched to eliminate the demand for drugs, and whereas the National Red Ribbon Campaign offers students of Bastrop Independent School District and the citizens of Bastrop County the opportunity to demonstrate their commitment to drug-free lifestyles. Whereas the National Red Ribbon Campaign will be celebrated in every community in America during Red Ribbon Week, October 23rd through the 31st. And whereas business, government, parents, law enforcement, media, medical institutions, religious institutions, schools, senior citizens, service organizations, and youth will demonstrate their commitment to healthy, drug-free lifestyles by wearing and displaying red ribbons during the week-long campaign. And therefore, it is resolved that October 23rd through the 31st be known as Red Ribbon Week, and encourages citizens to participate in drug prevention education activities not only during Red Ribbon Week, but all year long, making a visible statement that we are strongly committed to a drug-free Bastrop. In witness whereof I hereunto thou set my hand and cause the official seal of the city of Bastrop, Texas, to be affixed to the 27th day of September 2018, signed Connie B. Schrader, Mayor of Bastrop City.
Thank you, Les.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. We appreciate that. Also want to thank the city of Bastrop for their continued effort and bringing that to our attention each year. At this time, we'll go to the Go Purple Days presentation for Domestic Violence and Awareness Month. We have Gina Garlinski and Ashlyn Carnahan. Am I close?
You got it. Perfect, yeah.
All right, with the Family Crisis Center, thank y'all very much for coming to our meeting tonight.
Thank you. Good evening. I am Gina Gorlinski. This is Ashlyn Carnahan. We're the prevention educators with the Family Crisis Center. We're some of the prevention educators. October is nationally recognized as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This Thursday, October 18th, we invite everyone to go purple and strive for a state where no one loses their life as a result of domestic violence.
Now we've got some statistics for you, some shocking ones actually.
Did you know that 1 in 10 high school students has been purposefully hit, slapped, or physically hurt by a boyfriend or girlfriend? This is in high school already. Violent behavior typically begins, actually, it's been shown, between the ages of 12 and 18.
Some parents are confident that they would be able to save their teenager from an abusive relationship. However, 81% of surveyed parents believe teen dating violence is not an issue in their community or admitted they didn't know if it even was an issue. And although 82% of those parents felt confident that they could recognize the signs if their child was experiencing dating abuse, a majority of those parents could not correctly identify all of the warning signs of abuse.
As prevention educators, we believe that knowledge is power. Dating and domestic violence often follows a predictable pattern. Friends, family, and community can help if they know the warning signs. That's what we're here for. We hold firm to the conviction that each intimate partner homicide is knowable, it's predictable, and it's 100% preventable. The Family Crisis Center offers prevention education programs to the schools at no cost, to the districts as a whole. Our programs provide information on how to recognize abusive relationships, how to report abuse as it happens, and how to deter it from happening in the future. We also offer other topics, I call them root topics, such as bullying, internet safety, and sexual assault prevention.
We would like to express our appreciation to Principal Brown from Bastrop High School for always allowing us to educate and bring awareness to BHS students. He has been very accommodating and welcomes all of our programs, groups, and awareness events.
And also to the other wonderful staff members, the counselors, the social workers at the elementary schools, the intermediate schools, and the middle schools. They do a great job at getting us into their extremely busy schedules, and they're always there with a smile on their face, ready to go. Those people have some work that they do, and it's really, really special. So.
We do get into other schools too, but Mr. Brown gets our gold star.
He's a gentleman.
He's a gentleman.
Additionally, many Bastrop City and county members, organizations, and businesses have joined us to promote public awareness about domestic violence. You might notice City Hall, Bastrop Police Department, Bastrop Public Library, and this building have all gone purple by displaying purple lights after dark in the evening, so take a little stroll around if you'd like. And also we have purple pumpkins in lots of offices. If you see one or see one strolling around, make sure to take a picture and post it on social media.
So on Go Purple Thursday, which is this Thursday, we encourage everyone to wear purple to show your support for domestic violence victims and survivors and take action to help end violence in our communities. If your school is choosing to wear purple, I would ask that you do let us know. We'll be coming by and we'll take pictures of admin or teachers or whoever is, in purple. Bastrop ISDPD is always helpful as well. They always participate with us.
They get a gold star.
They like to come in and take our pictures with all of our feathers and big old purple glasses. They're good sports. So thank you for joining us and bringing the knowledge to our communities.
Thank you all.
Thank you for being here.
Ashley and Gina, thank y'all for coming out tonight and for everything that you do, and y'all done a lot of great things, and please pass our gratitude on to Miss Murphy for her leadership and for always caring and running a great program over there. All right, at this time we have a recognition for Bastrop High School teacher Trent Jimenez, presenter Dr. Christy Lee.
So at the last month's board meeting, I shared with you that Mr. Jimenez had been nominated for Phi Beta Kappa Alumni Association's Teaching Excellence Award. He was a top 5 finalist in all of Central Texas, extending all the way over to San Antonio. And recently he was chosen as the winner. And he was unable to actually be with us, but I wanted to make sure and let you know that he was the winner of that award. It's their inaugural award, and so that goes down in history as he's the first ever winner for this. He will be presented with a $2,500 check at the November 3rd fall meeting being held in Austin. And Bastrop High School will receive a $500 check for a project that Mr. Jimenez and Mr. Brown will decide on together to impact the campus. So congratulations to Trent Jimenez.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Looks like we have a spotlight presentation by the NJROTC program. Captain Fletcher.
I'm Cadet Lieutenant Commander Rena Richard at the Bastrop High School NJRTC. I'm the Sea Bear Company Commanding Officer.
I'm Cadet Senior Chief Petty Officer Alec Warby at the Bastrop High School NJRTC, and I'm the Sea Bear Company Senior Chief.
We are under the direction of Captain Chris Fletcher, United States Navy retired, and Chief David Canales, United States Navy retired.
Some people think the NJRTC is recruiting for the military, but it is a leadership and citizenship development program that is a partnership between the Bastrop Independent School District and the United States Navy.
The program is a leadership laboratory where students learn how to follow, and more importantly, we learn how to lead. We learn leadership skills in an academic environment and then get to practice them in the NJROTC Leadership Laboratory, where we successfully graduate from leading small units up to leading the company of 120 cadets.
NJROTC also emphasizes good citizenship by assisting at community events and activities such as performing color guards at events like the Chamber of Commerce events, Bastrop Memorial Day ceremony. Cadets become community emergency response team qualified, and we participate in the Adopt a Highway program along a 2-mile stretch Highway 95 to keep Bastrop beautiful, just to name a few of our community events. Sea Bear Company accumulated over 1,000 community service hours and over 950 school support hours last year.
The goal when we graduate is to send strong leaders that are civic-minded into the community to be the leaders and productive members of this community and this great country for the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Captain Fletcher, thank you for coming out tonight, and students for a great presentation. We really do appreciate it. All right, this time, open forum. Ms. Barrientos, do we have anybody signed up? All right, we'll let the minutes show that nobody signed up for open forum. Now we're going to our public hearing. We have a presentation and public hearing on state comp ed funds K through 12. Presenter, Dr. Rocha.
Well, good evening, board members. Mr. Edwards, I heard that you were just riveted by Title I last month, and so you welcomed me back for State Comp Ed. And so I am so excited to present this. This is going to be an actual public hearing, so we will take questions from the board members and from anyone in the audience as well at the end of this presentation. So this month, we are going to review our 17-18. So this is going to be an evaluation of last year's funding. So taking a look at our, can you hear me if I back up a little bit still? Taking a look at our actual background for State Comp Ed at a glance. So under Section 29.081 of the Texas Education Code, compensatory education is defined in law as programs or services designed to supplement the regular ed program for students identified as at risk of dropping out of school. The purpose is to increase academic achievement and reduce the dropout rate of these students. So you can kind of see here, students are actually eligible by 13 at-risk indicators, and we're going to look at those here in the next slide. When planning for how these funds will be expended, all costs must be used to directly impact the students. So again, reminding you guys, especially when we're getting ready to look at our SIPs and our DIP one more time, since 1992, 1993, our TEC code has also required that each LEA does have an appropriate plan within their DIPs and their SIP to show how state comp ed funding is being used to support these endeavors. So this is just a snapshot of all 13 of our at-risk indicator codes. For each of these, there is specific criteria used to classify students, and there is also very specific criteria used to exit our students. We're not going to get into that this evening because that is very complex. You can ask any of our registrars and counselors. They're working very diligently on those efforts right now. They're doing a wonderful job. But again, just a kind of a snapshot look at all of those 13 at-risk indicators. Any questions about those in particular right now? Okay. There we go. So taking a look at our numbers. So for the 16-17 school year, we were roughly at about 60.3% of our students falling into the at-risk category. For last year, 17-18, we did increase marginally by about 200 students. So just taking a look at our overall funding. So the way, and this is great for me because as a principal, I actually had a lot of clarity coming from a campus to district level. So looking at your actual allotment, your allotment is based on your socioeconomic status. So the district is actually allotted that money based on our SE status. However, when we take the money and we distribute it to the individual campuses, that's when we go on their at-risk percentage population. So that was a real moment of clarity for me because I always knew as a campus principal it was based on my at-risk population, but I just thought it was a really interesting note to be able to say that that is a distinction between the way the district is allotted the money and then the way the campuses are allotted the money. So when we do get that allotment, 52% of that has to be spent on direct supplemental services to students. So taking a look at last year's results for our STAR students in 3rd through 8th. So again, the goal of state comp ed money is really to reduce any disparity in performance on assessment instruments and also to reduce that disparity of high school completion students at risk of dropping out. So kind of just taking a look at our reading, we can see that all student category goes up by 2%, but the at-risk does go down by 2%. In math, we see an increase in both the all student category and the at-risk, and then you can kind of see the writing, science, and social studies kind of follow the same trend. So again, you have our all population on the left, our at-risk population on the right. So where does the funding go in our elementary schools? So basically most of the funding is tied up in all of our teachers and paraprofessionals for our response to intervention programming, also tutoring, L support, and then our pre-K support. Now taking a look at last year's EOC results, so we can see that English 1 and English 2, we did see huge increases in our at-risk. For all, it was 5%, and for at-risk, it went up 9%. Our algebra mirrored exactly each other with a 1% increase, and then bio went down 1%, and at-risk stayed the same, and then U.S. history, it looks like we stayed the same across the board. So our secondary services, again, our intervention classes, those are our credit recoveries, our Read 180s, our practical and technical writing classes. All of our tutoring support is used through this funding as well. The other pieces for a district level that we do also fund are Genesis and Gateway. Those are completely state comp ed funded. And then our campus behavior supports, and then summer school, our SSI initiatives, our EOC, and then the aforementioned credit recovery. At this time, I'd like to welcome any questions from board or from anyone in the audience.
So, well, Ms. Molly, go ahead.
Okay. Dr. Rockley, you had, that was going to be my question about the funding is based on, it's based on our socioeconomic percentage in the district. But then you said on the campus level?
It's based on your at-risk percentage. So those 13 criteria, those indicators, that's why our principals, our counselors, our registrars work so diligently to make sure we are identifying students as we need to, and also reclassifying them not at risk if they have, you know, also left the population. But so yes, so at-risk percentage, that's how it's distributed to the campuses.
Distributed from that
from the initial pot.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
And those expenditures, is it fair to say that's mainly payroll?
Correct. For the most part, yeah, our state comp ed, yes, sir.
Is that amount changed by property tax or no? No.
It's based on how many students eat in the cafeteria that are free and reduced. Not just who is free and reduced, but how many eat.
And those indicators, one of those indicators need to be met for the child, or yeah?
Correct, just one.
Thank you.
And we do have a lot that cross over, for sure.
Sure.
Is that 60% number, is that for the entire district, but then how do we compare with other districts? And
The at-risk percentage.
At-risk percentage.
The previous district I was in, the campus I was at was 90. So surrounding districts, that's a great question. I could find out, get back to you.
I'm just curious to know how we address it in a similar fashion.
Well, and I think that the really nice thing to be able to look at too is when we do look at the disparity, because again, we're looking to try and make sure that we're mirroring, is to really look at our programming and how we are funding things. And I think that our principals have done a really great job of looking at things this year as they've written their campus improvement plans and really try to focus in on what is working and what isn't, and really try to think outside of the box on some pieces. So I think that's a really great note to celebrate them on as well.
And I think it's fair probably to say with other districts adjoining our boundaries all have a different scenario, from Del Valle versus Smithville or even Lockhart to Elgin.
And I think for me, and the tendency is to think dropout, you think high school, but you have things in kindergarten that are indicators of potential dropout down the road. That's huge.
Absolutely.
And our program starts at age 13, is that correct?
Say that one more time.
At age 13?
No, our at-risk could be as early as pre-K.
As early as pre-K, okay. 13 indicators, sorry.
Oh, yes, 13 indicators.
Any questions from the crowd? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And we'll conclude our public hearing. At this time, we will move into the superintendent's report and board discussion. Looks like there's a curriculum report. There's no report this month. Financial report was for information only. Personnel report was for information only. Operations and police department report, no report this month. Communications, another familiar face, Dr. Lee, is going to come up and visit with us about 21st Century ACE grant program and BISD Family Resource Center. Dr. Lee?
Yes. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. This is part of the grant requirement, actually, that we have to make a presentation to the board to share with you about the grant that we received that is called Texas ACE. Well, that's what it's called in Texas. The Texas ACE grant is actually called the 21st Century Community Learning Centers grant. So this is kind of what we're going to go through: the what, the why, the where, the who, and the how of the Texas ACE program. So we're in the Cycle 10 grant. That's what we were awarded in June of this year. It's nearly $1.5 million that we will receive for up to 3 years. That depends on the continued funding of the grant, as well as us meeting the requirements of the grant each year. We were the only public school system outside of Austin ISD to receive this grant in all of the Central Texas area, so we were very proud about that. And the grant centers really on tutorials, academic enrichment, a family engagement component, as well as providing college and career information to the students who are identified for the program. Our program goals are essentially to foster each student's academic success. That includes focusing on improving attendance, improving their behavior, and of course, academic achievement. It's also to build a sustainable program that would help to continue meeting the needs of those underserved population, which is what the 21st Century Grant targets, by enhancing our current after-school programs such as the STARS program and BTB, or Beyond the Bell. Our service goals, in terms of how many students we said that we would impact in our grant application: 120 students at both the elementary and intermediate level, 60 adult family members, and 40 at the elementary and intermediate. And then at the middle school, 60 students and 30 adult family members, because as I said, there is a family engagement requirement as a part of the grant. We are at 10 sites, essentially everything but high school. The program goes from the end of the school day for 2.5 hours. We started September the 4th, and we will go through May the 9th. We will stop prior to all of the significant testing that happens. And then we will start back up again for 6 weeks during the summer time and go Monday through Thursday. Our average attendance right now at all the elementary schools is between 30 and 35 students who come every day. And then for intermediate and middle is between 30 and 40 students. So our district staff includes a project director, a family engagement specialist, and then part-time support staff. And then at each campus, we have a full-time site coordinator. That person is a degreed professional, either with a degree in education or a related field. We use only certified teachers as tutors, and then our paraprofessionals as site assistants. We also have some parent and high school students who volunteer to assist us in the program after school. We have tremendous partnerships as a part of this grant that we have established, not only with Equal Heart, but with Mad Science, Camp Einstein, the YMCA Youth in Government Program, and Common Threads, which is similar to Equal Heart in providing food and nutrition for students after school. And then internal partners that have already done work with us include our digital learning department, our police department, our internal BISD police department, the community relations staff, and then our homeless and foster care liaison. So how is the program working? What programs and services are we providing? So ACE is designed to be an integral part of every campus. So that's why the on-site coordinator doesn't just work after school, but that person is there during the school day as well, participating in campus events, being in classrooms, working with teachers and the principal and counselor to identify and serve those students directly. The services after school and those tutorials directly support the campus goals, and that includes the STAR achievement. And of course, the summer school services, since that happens after summer school is over with, also provides help to parents because for childcare for those 6 weeks. So it is designed to coordinate with STARS, which happens at our elementary school campuses, and BTB in terms of space and programming, so we share that. Enrollment at the elementary is based upon campus recommendations. Those students who are in the response to intervention process, or RTI, in tiers 2 and tier 3, who are most in need of academic intervention. And then at the intermediate and middle school, it's a little bit more open. We have to do things to really get the students there. So we use a little bit different approach to identify and select those students. But all of those, the programming has tutorials, academic enrichment, and a family engagement component. So we appreciate the board's support of us applying for this grant and for continuing to support after-school programming because it has a significant impact on our students. Do you have any questions about the Texas ACE program? All right.
Thank you.
And now into the next presentation. I feel like I need some of the music. So I wanted to share with you an update on the BISD Family Resource Center. An overview. So this is located on Cedar between Hill and Jefferson in the back portion of the Circogenesis campus facility that we have been using for storage, for textbooks, and other administrative purposes. It is home to several important BISD programs and services, and in the future, this would also be the home of the integrated clinic that we've talked about before, with services provided in partnership with the Community Health Centers of South Central Texas and with Bluebonnet Trails Community Services. So what are the programs and services that are in the Family Resource Center? So our homeless and foster care services, our migrant recruitment. As a part of the homeless and foster care services, there will be a mini Christian's Closet and a mini emergency food pantry. This is a great assistance to Norma Mercado because she spends lots of her time driving to those locations, and so this we'll be able to have that in the Family Resource Center so that she can access it immediately for her students. And then we will also have community agencies, such as the ones listed here: Combined Community Action, Seton, Community Action of Central Texas, AgriLife, WIC, Salvation Army, and Blue Cross Blue Shield that will provide a range of services. And they'll be in the Family Resource Center on a designated day each week or a designated day each month. It just depends on the agency. And it will be a one-stop shop to provide services for our families, because as we know in this area, oftentimes transportation is an issue, and the families for those families who are most in need of services. I want to speak a little bit about our homeless student population because they are in the Family Resource Center. I wanted to let you know that right now we have 205 identified homeless students. When Norma applied for a grant this year, she looked back at the last 3 years at our population, and we're averaging about 100 students, increasing every year. In the 15-16 school year, we had 187. In the 16-17 school year, we had 197. At the end of this past school year, we had 488. So there was a significant jump this past year. But even with that, the second bullet point is really important. So for these last 3 years, that first percentage for 15-16 is our homeless student average daily attendance versus our non-homeless student at 95.14. But look at the gains that are happening each year. Our homeless students, despite the challenges that they have, are coming to school at a greater rate. And I think that this is directly attributed to all of the wraparound services that BISD is providing to students and those families, even as our population is significantly increasing, with 17-18 at 488 students being the highest percentage, not too far behind our non-homeless students. The grant that Norma applied for and received is called the Texas Education for Homeless Children and Youth, and it was $23,250 that provides school of origin transportation, removing those transportation barriers for kids to participate in the Texas ACE program, school supplies including clothing and shoes, not just pens and pencils, and then arranging educational and college field trips for those students who that would definitely be a barrier for them. Yes?
Define homeless, and what attributes to the 200 to 400 in 1 year?
It went from 197 in 16-17 to 488 from 17-18. So I don't have all the technical definitions of homeless, but it is a range of things. So it could be, a family, two families doubling up for economic reasons. So, you have a place, but I don't have a place. And so I'm temporarily staying with you and your family. My children and I are staying with you and your family, but my children would be considered homeless because we're staying with another family for economic reasons. Couch surfing is another, that's some kids, especially our older kids who are teenage and who are unaccompanied. Living in an RV park is considered homeless. Staying in a motel or a hotel, which is temporary housing, is considered homeless.
Do we know why the jump in percentage, 200% in a year, or is it, am I right on the numbers?
From 197 to 48, yeah, I mean, it was very, very close. Why the jump that particular year, I'm not sure, but I will definitely find that out for you, what the significant jump was. But it's such an issue that, and that goes to the second bullet point I want to talk about here in just a second, but there's been a consortium established directly to address ending homelessness in Bastrop County.
I would say that the jump, Mr. Allen, has a lot to do with the identification. We've gotten much more systemic and much better at finding our kids, locating them, and getting them the services. Hiring Norma, she's just done an outstanding job, and that's why I would believe, I think they've been there all along. We're just doing a much better job as a system finding them.
It may not be that big a percentage jump, but just being more stringent on defining that.
Correct, and finding them, like I said, and getting them services.
People displaced, like the year of the fires, we had over.
Yes.
Those kids were considered homeless.
The PATHS project is a planned approach to helping students. This program works with our homeless, foster care, and migrant students with access to college and career information, planning tools, and taking them on college field trips, which is what is really special and important. And then this consortium that I mentioned is a partnership between the district, the Department of Family and Protective Services, CASA, the juvenile justice system, and other key folks in the community. And so that first meeting will be coming up on Monday, the 22nd. This winter, as we do typically every year, we'll have the Thanksgiving celebration in November, and that's a community partnership in providing meals and support. And in addition, this year we'll be having a kind of a lesson or information available to help parents deal with the stress during the holidays, because obviously there are some unique challenges to our families who are most in need dealing with the stress of the holidays. And then Winter Blast used to be called Coats for Kids and Celebration of Love, so it's been rebranded as Winter Blast, but we're still giving out lots of coats. Last year was about 1,500, and lots of toys, about 2,000, I think, and so we're looking to increase those numbers this year. But that comes up in November and December. The other component of the Family Resource Center is the Integrated Health Clinic, and I already mentioned our two partners. So the plan is to provide health services to BISD students and their families, as well as access for BISD staff, as well as behavioral health services. And there's been so much in the news about mental health for students, so this will be an important component. As funding allows, we hope that there will be dental clinic services at some point in the future. These clinics would take most major insurance, as well as offer a sliding scale, and even to the ability of not being able to pay for any of our students. And then at some point in the future, we would consider opening that up to the clinic to neighbors and to the community, should the partners agree that that's in the best interests of the clinic and the district. Andrea Richardson is the wonderful person we've been working with. She's the executive director of Bluebonnet Trails, and she is the one who's applied for the grant from the St. David's Foundation on behalf of the three of us as a partnership, which would cover the cost of renovating that building, the clinic side of that building, for those health and behavioral health services. Are there any questions about the Family Resource Center or about the Integrated Health Clinic?
Okay, Hannah, Justin, is it Justin?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Great. Been covered a lot since Mr. Edwards introduced you. Were y'all aware that these services are provided and offered to students?
Yes, sir. I actually have a teammate recently who was kicked out of his home by his parents on both sides. His parents are divorced, and he had really nowhere to go. As Miss Lee said, he was couch surfing until I told him, go talk to, Mr. Edwards or somebody higher up, and they can help you. And he's had a coordinator that's been helping him, like services that were shown on the PowerPoint on what he needed. So I've seen that.
Well, good. Are there any thoughts on how we can promote those services more, maybe make them less intimidating? Not saying they are intimidating, but
I think that our age, anybody our age needs somebody to talk to, and especially if you don't have your parents. I think it's essentially really hard to be this age and be alone. So I think like coordinators to help kids, just somebody to talk to them, somebody to help them here and there, as like what my teammate was doing. She was really good to him. She's been helping him keep on his feet and stuff. I think that's just important for kids our age. Nobody wants to be alone, and if you don't have your parents, you really are alone. So I think that's a great way to help us.
well, thank you for your feedback. And Dr. Lee, I'm sure that the faculty and staff are well aware of these services if they see a child in need in a classroom or hallway or.
Yes, I think that that's part of the identification process, is that they know the kinds of things to listen for and to watch for, and that's one of the things that teachers are amazing at, is picking up on those little clues that someone's giving you, that the students wore the same shirt all 3 days this week, and just paying attention to those details and facial expressions and body language, and I think that that's part of the identification process. So I do think that they know, but we can always remind them of those things that are available to them.
Right. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we will move to our consent agenda. Would any board member like to pull any of the consent agenda items from the agenda for discussion? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. This time, we'll move to our action item. We will consider changing the date of the regular November board meeting. Mr. Edwards?
Thank you very much. Members of the board, as you know, we host our board meetings on the third Tuesday of every month. In November, that's November 20th, which hits during the Thanksgiving holiday break. So we're recommending that the board meeting be changed to the Tuesday the 13th, a week earlier, so that we can have our meeting. So the administration recommends that we change the board meeting from November 20th to November 13th in November.
Any discussion from the board on that? All right, Nancy, I'm going to throw you a curveball. I'm going to recommend that the regular November board meeting date be changed to Tuesday, November 13th, 2018. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, this time we will consider approving the 2018-2019 district and campus improvement plans. Ms. Oliveris.
Hi. Good evening, Mr. Muchink, Mr. Edwards, and board members. I am really happy to join you this evening to bring you this very football-spirited presentation. I probably have no business talking football, but I'm going to give it my best.
By the way, the Astros are playing right now.
I hear they are. All right, then I'm going to speed this along. But today we bring you our, actually that's the wrong one. We're looking for the district and campus improvement plans first, please. No worries, it's all good. All right, so hopefully this would be our final approval of our district and campus improvement plans. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. And really wanted to launch our word with this quote. If you want to win, do the ordinary things better than anyone else does them day in and day out. And I'm very passionate about my belief at the core of who I am that our district and our campuses are doing things day in and day out to move our campus improvement and our district improvement process forward. Already this year, many of our campuses have started interventions at a much sooner rate than they did last year. There's a sense of really productive pressure and positive urgency to get down to the student level in our action planning for kiddos. On the CNI side, our team is embarking on coaching cycles. This is our effort to support teachers towards retention and towards student progress. So we refine every year the way that we gather data, the way that we give feedback. Already just in CNI, we've completed 326 walkthroughs, and we give that feedback to principals and administrators to kind of help carry that load and kind of keep an eye on student progress. We believe in the adage that we impact every student and every teacher every day, and that's what anchors our work. So today we're happy to bring to you the final version of our district and campus improvement plans because they do lay that pathway for us. Maybe? Yes. No. Yes. Okay, so our district is charged by Texas Education Code statute to form a committee to develop an improvement plan that is evaluated and revised annually with the assistance of a district level committee. We have a committee, they have met, and we have finalized this district improvement plan. They've blessed it that we're bringing forward to you today. Concurrently during that process, our campuses must also form a campus level committee to ensure site-based decision making is alive and well. They look at their budget, they look at decisions that they make to support the improvement of student performance at all levels of the campus student population. Both district and campus level improvement plans must address hello. That's okay, no worries. The performance of all student groups, including by statute English learners and students receiving special education supports. I promise that's what that code says in there. All right. So as a reminder, board, a comprehensive needs assessment drives our campus improvement plans and our district improvement planning process. The CNA measures the achievement performance disaggregated by all of our student groups in the district, including categories of ethnicity, socioeconomic status, English learner, and special education students. From there, the district and the campus must develop performance objectives. And these performance objectives have to capture all achievement measures for all student groups with strategies underneath them that support these performance objectives. For the district, there are 9. The district improvement plan must address issues such as discipline management, dropout reduction, staff development and staff retention, and it must include resources, timeline, and staff that is going to be needed to implement those strategies. Concurrently, at the campus level, they must hold at least one public meeting annually after TA gives them their rating to discuss performance of the campus at large, but also those performance objectives and how they did. So this quote speaks to the simplicity that we were aiming for, and if you know anything about aligning things and being simple, it's a complicated process, right? But we really wanted to achieve just this synergy between our district improvement plans and our campus improvement plans. Try not to do too many things at once. Know what you want, the number one thing today and tomorrow, and then persevere and get it done. And that really was one of our guiding principles as we worked through this process. So, as I gave you a little spoiler earlier, there are 9 performance objectives for the district improvement plan that hopefully you're going to be blessing today. These 9 follow the 4 goals that were set in our 5-year strategic plan. Just as a reminder, those 4 goals are differentiated instruction, or what I call academics, increased communication, recruiting, equipping, and retaining staff, and then finally strengthening our partnerships and developing partnerships. So this slide covers goal 1, which is academics, and it encompasses 4 performance objectives. Performance objective 1 is a discipline goal intended to maximize in-class learning time for students. Performance objective 2 is intended to increase our overall student performance at the MEET level by 10%, and then at the master's level by an additional 5%. Performance objective 3 is intended to increase our performance for those 2 special groups by statute, which are our English learners and our students receiving special education services. And then finally, under this goal, performance objective 4 seeks to increase the percent of our students graduating with college, career, and military readiness by 5%. Goal 2 anchors on communication, and it includes just one performance goal, or one performance objective, excuse me, to increase communication with our internal and external users by at least 25% district-wide through promoting student and staff success, building trust, and strengthening our brand and our messaging. I know that Dr. Lee has worked very diligently along with our campuses on this. Goal 3 anchors on staff retention, and it involves one encompassing performance objective, and that is to increase recruitment and retention efforts by 20%. And then finally, goal 4 is all about partnerships. And under this, we have our final 3 performance objectives. And those include increasing family and parent engagement by 5%, expanding our community and business partnerships by 20%, and then increasing safety and security and training opportunities within the district by 5% as well. Yes. Nobody who ever gave it his best regretted it. That is absolutely true. Board members, you've seen this visual already, and this is truly just a reminder to reiterate to you that we're streamlining all of our documents. We feel that our district improvement plan and our campus improvement plans are closely aligned, and I'm going to show you in the next couple of slides how our campuses are setting their performance objectives to correlate and align with our 9 performance objectives that you'll be approving. Of course, you know that they also individualize performance objectives based on their individual campus needs, okay? As we mentioned to you last month, the superintendent and the board goals also align with our strategic plans. And so now we're going to move on to the campuses, which really do carry the bulk of this work with our students. And we really do believe that the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra effort, and I believe that they get an A++ for that. So I took the liberty of highlighting a few campus improvement plans to showcase to you the alignment between the DIP and the SIPs. I also just discovered this like paint tool within the clipping tool, and it has these awesome colors and brushes and highlighters. So I may have gone a little overboard with the visuals because I geeked out on them a little bit. But let me tell you what all I marked up, because I'm a schoolgirl and I'm just going to own it. So this is an example of Bluebonnet Elementary having a very solid goal 1 that aligns with that district improvement plan. So in it, they're going to set their goals for meets. Now, if you'll notice for them, and kudos to Bluebonnet, because their meets goal of math was already met. We set a goal for 46%. Well, they were at 48%, so what do? They plus it, they up it, they say, okay, we're already there, and so then we went to them and we said, well, give us 5 more points, right? Help us get to that overall target to move you ahead and move the district overall rating ahead. So that's what they've done. This is also a really good indicator, just that shows you where they've committed to the progress that we said we were going to do, which is 75% of our students will meet progress. That means they will not go backwards in math, and 70% of our kiddos will meet progress or will exceed progress and will not go backwards in reading. And then also by statute, they set their goals for special education and English learner performance to either meet or exceed the district targets. In their case, they're actually trying to exceed the district targets. All right, so Bastrop Middle School has a great example of Goal 2. Which is communications. And they are committing to ensuring campus communications are sent out via multiple platforms for social media. They're going to coordinate safety drills in conjunction with our BISD police force, and they're going to create a more welcoming and safe environment for our parents and our learning community overall. So again, under all of these performance objectives, they're going to have their specific strategies for carrying that out, and then quarterly they're going to go in and they're going to review their progress. Bastrop Intermediate School has a really good example for Goal 3, which anchors on staff retention. And they have intended or committed to having 100% of their staff being ESL certified by the end of this year, and they're going to retain 90% of their employees. So they're going to use strategies like our mentor program. They're going to do a lot of professional development and building up, and the rah-rah-rahs and the encouraging and supporting. So those are Goals 3 and 4. And then finally, Cedar Creek High School has a really good example for Goal 4 and how they align to our district plan. This is for those partnerships, and they're committed to really hosting some intentional bilingual community meetings to increase the community engagement of Spanish-speaking families by 5%. We know on the Cedar Creek side our bilingual population is growing and growing, so that's one of their goals. And then 2, they also want to make sure that they educate parents, business leaders, and communities on how to get involved overall at Cedar Creek High School and not just kind of go to your sport or your students area. And they want to increase that participation by 5%. So they've set those performance objectives for themselves. So this day and age, it really might feel at times that there are many hurdles that we face to getting to the end zone, right? It's the end zone? All right, from mental health, totally, yes, from mental health concerns, and truly, I know we've spoken to that, to homelessness, mental health, to increased rigor and accountability. Board, I will tell you, as soon as we feel like we've really gotten good at something, the state says, so you've gotten good at graduating kids, so now, make sure that you get them good at getting ready for post-secondary. So there's always a new thing, but we commit to you that it may not be pretty, but we're always going to strive to ensure that our plans include the right place at the right time with the right amount of training and effort and extra push to reach our goals. And so with that, I will happily entertain questions or comments about the district or campus improvement plans that you will approve today.
Is that a touchdown?
Yeah,
I don't
was
know.
wondering the
I have
same
no
thing.
idea.
That's
Please
a
don't. I think it is. Yes.
Plus we get some yardage on the kickoff. All
I
right.
couldn't even tell you who's playing, but
I just see the yellow flag going, so I wondered.
I don't know about that flag.
I have a serious question. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
And I know we've already talked about this, but I don't remember the one with regards to staff, goal 3 in the beginning with regards to district-wide. You mentioned keeping staff, but I think you also said increasing our pool that we get to choose from too. Is that right? Is that what I understand when you said 20? It was goal 3.
Goal 3. So in goal 3, we have several strategies. One of them is to retain our staff, and one of the things we want to do through retention efforts is make sure that we give them the support that we need. But we also, so there's 3 parts to it. It's retaining, equipping with the professional development and supports they need, and then recruiting as well. So the recruiting is the 3rd part of that goal, and that includes strategies from, like I believe, Penny, we now have like online job fairs, as virtual job fair. I mean, we are pounding the pavement, not just on in-person job fairs, but ways to help promote. We're always trying to think of how do we attract, how do we promote, how do we make ourselves more viable and make ourselves a destination district.
Perfect.
So it's a 3-parter.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thank you, Lila, for.
I don't know how to stop this. I'm sorry.
It's good.
There we go.
The end.
For really pointing out that alignment, and I think that that is what is really exciting and reassuring to see. And I noticed it in the problem statements and the root causes that there was kind of a thread of problem statements that seems to go across most campuses. Our attendance and our reading and our
rigor level
and that, yes. And then to look at the district plan and see that that's being addressed there, and it's just kind of like that warm, safe blanket that everybody's working together. And the district recognizes and understands that these are big issues that every school is having, or every district, but everybody here is really aware of it and tackling it. So, I mean, compliments to all of the principals and also and staff in the district for giving that kind of a security that we've got this, Not that it's all going to be solved immediately, because that's the way of the world, but it's an awareness on the part of everyone of not just the things that we have going on that we're really proud of, but that there's some real issues that we have a handle on figuring out how to solve them. So, thank you.
No, thank you. We believe that you trust us to do our work, and it's not always the case. So we appreciate that trust, and we so want to deliver for you. I know our teachers are working hard every day. I know our leaders are working hard every day, and we certainly are doing everything in our power to not leave any stone unturned when it comes to campus improvement and district improvement process, because our kiddos deserve that. For sure, we believe that. Thank you.
And I do have a serious question according to Dr. Miggs, but this is more of just curiosity, okay? So throughout the plan, you had a lot of percentages, and I'll just pick on Chief because I like to. It's like 5% in safety, security, and training. What was the mindset or how you came up with, not y'all, but does the team came up with like 5% here or 10% here?
Right. So we always want to make sure that we have goals that are achievable year to year. And we really felt like if we were going to increase, like let's take the safety, for example. If we want to increase our partnership with BISD police force to make sure that all of our drills are in place, we want to balance out safety with maximized instructional time, with making sure that our kids and our staff really know what to do in case of a real viable emergency. So we can't say, we're going to blanket, increase, 20-fold the number of drills, but we can say, we're going to try to make sure that we're coordinated in our efforts at least, 5% of the time. So we try to make goals that we know are a reach for us, but that we can also balance everything else that the campus and the police force have on their plates, because I believe they're responding a lot now to, you guys have always been there, but now you're at every single one basically, almost on a monthly basis with our campuses. So did that answer your question?
That's great question. All right, do we have any other questions for Ms. Oliveris here in regards to the district improvement plans?
I just have a brief comment. I just am really impressed that the team has put this together, so much information in this one document, and we're already, as a parent with a child in the district, seeing some of this implemented. And so I just would like to commend the team for doing such a great job so far with this.
Our campuses are phenomenal, and I would be remiss if I don't recognize Dr. Rocha, who has come in with a lot of energy to help guide our planning efforts, and we really are grateful to have really good people to support our campuses and our district planning. So thank you for that. I'm glad you're feeling some effects of that already from the campus parent level.
Fantastic. Any other comments from the board? All right, at this time I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2018-19 district improvement plans and campus improvement plans as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Ms. Oliveris, hopefully you got a little bit of wind left in you.
I do.
Talk about these district target improvement plans.
Mostly worried about football questions.
But keep in mind, it says 10 minutes on here.
Yes, sir.
No, just
So hello again. It's been a while. So this evening we bring to you our Bastrop ISD Targeted Improvement Plan that we created for the 2018-2019 school year. So, Board, the Texas Education Agency, in a new statute requirement for this year, requires districts who earned any domain score of improvement required to develop a targeted improvement plan that you as a school board will review and approve to try to remediate and improve the score for the next accountability rating. We received an improvement required rating in domain 3, as circled by my blue pen, for closing the gaps with a D grade. I do want to remind our board that our overall rating was still in the acceptable range of C. So we created a targeted improvement plan just specifically for that domain 3, and it encompasses 3 goals. And in our effort and in our philosophy to keep first things first and to have that laser focused on our improvement efforts so that campuses do not confuse themselves and get overburdened by our paperwork, we have already declared in our district and campus improvement plans that you approved today, thank you, that we decided it would be most efficient and effective for us to focus on 3 goals that address, number 1, reading performance, and what we're asking here is for an increase of 10% in the meets category. Number 2, addressing the district performance in mathematics, and we're looking for an increase in 8% there. And then number 3, the college, career, and military readiness rate, and we're looking for an increase in 5% overall there. And we feel that these efforts will not only take us out of that IR rating in domain 3 and are completely applicable, but it will help us get to our overall district goal this year of a B letter rating. So I'm not going to read these to you verbatim, but under each one of these goals, then we have strategies. So I've given you a sampling of the strategies. You did receive the full plan for your review at your pleasure, but I'm going to highlight a couple of these goals. So for goal 1, strategies that we said we were going to do is implement screeners in reading and train and support our teachers in supporting our English learners and our special education students. For goal 2, we said we were going to extend our knowledge of TEKS deconstruction. That is happening hard and heavy across all of our campuses so that teachers are better equipped to plan and to build capacity and in using our resources that we require them to use and in their instructional delivery. And then finally for goal 3, we said we were going to conduct an audit of all of our CCMR processes. Some of this with our CCMR really might just come down to how we code industry certifications for kiddos. But then we've also made a concerted effort to increase TSI testing opportunities for students. And we want to make sure that all students have access to this TSIA examination, including students that have language and instructional accommodations. And so we're moving forward in that regard. And then finally, we believe that teamwork does make the dream work. And so we are committed to working hard to meet all of these TIP objectives and strategies. So at this time, I will entertain any questions or concerns that you may have had from reviewing our targeted improvement plan for Bastrop ISD for Domain 3.
Any questions from the board? If there are no questions or discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2018-19 district targeted improvement plans as presented.
So moved.
We have a motion?
Second.
Yes, I moved.
Second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Olivers. All right, Ms. Callahan, we weren't going to let you off the hook.
Oh, well, this will be
Last but not least.
She's just the introducer.
Yes.
No, we couldn't be here to talk about the authorization for the tax resale.
All right. Ellen, Ms. Owens, thank you very much for, I do want to apologize. I should have moved you up front so you could have got home earlier.
No problem. I definitely enjoy visiting with all of y'all. Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Edwards, and board. You have in front of you a resolution authorizing a tax resale. This is a piece of property at the lower end of Tahitian Village in Unit 5 that the Water Control and Improvement District in Tahitian is requesting ownership of. This is a piece of land in between two houses that they're having a problem with flooding in that area. So they're wanting to fix it for the drainage off the road and do a little retention there. If y'all do approve this resolution authorizing this, the tax amount that is currently due, the base tax is $1,200.15, would be wrote off as a donation to the Water District. If y'all have any particular questions, I'd be happy to answer them. If not, I do recommend y'all approve this resolution.
Ms. Callahan, anything to add? No. Any discussion from the board? If there's no discussion, I make a motion that we approve the resolution to authorize the tax resale as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you very much, Ms. Owens.
Thank you.
All right, for information items, board calendar of events is for information only. Enrollment that I know the boards took a look at is for information only. Is there anything that the board would like to add to this meeting?
I'd like to ask a question of our students.
Please.
Fellow presentations here tonight, y'all up on all the acronyms? The TIPS, SIPs, DIPS, PPRs?
Never heard sip and dip.
Sounds kind of like a...
Missing out.
Second serve.
Sounds like a...
Sounds like a happy hour.
And I was going to ask you, said you were interested in running a business with your sister?
Yes, sir. My sister, Katie Ford, she is a clothing company called Tom Jones Suit Company. It's not advertised. I've gone to a couple internships at Texas State, met with professors that have gone client calls, see what she does. So yeah, I'm pretty interested in doing what she's doing. I don't know.
Okay, that sounds good. And do you know what level you're interested in working in education?
High school, sir.
And subjects, or you haven't figured
I want to
that
be a history teacher and also coach basketball.
Awesome.
Got those openings over there. Well, thank you for your looking towards the future. We need people like you involved in the systems.
Yes, sir.
Did Mr. Jimenez inspire you?
Oh, yes, ma'am. He's a great teacher, and he's really respectful. Every time I walk by him in the hallway, he's always telling me hi and giving me compliments.
So it wasn't Coach Dodd?
Oh, yeah, Coach Dodd. He's awesome.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic.
Appreciate your input.
Thank both of y'all for being here tonight.
Absolutely.
Any other discussion from the board? All right, if there's no further discussion, does anybody object to adjourning this meeting? There are no objections. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Please take cake before you go home.
Oh,
Please.
I think I'll have that for breakfast. Are you heading to Elgin?